Hi Parker Panthers. So for those of you that wanted to hear Deep, Dark, and Dangerous, I'm about to start. Before I do though, I'm going to preview the back of the book aloud so we can get kind of a feel for what it's going to be about. And then we'll look at the title and pictures. So it says, just before summer begins, 13-year-old Allie finds an old photograph. She recognizes the two children. One's her mother, and the other's her Aunt Dulce. But who is the third person? The one who's been torn out of the picture? Allie will have 2 months to figure it out, since she's spending the summer with her aunt and her cousin in the same house her mom and aunt used to visit when they were kids. Then Allie meets Sissy. Sissy is mean, spiteful, and determined to ruin Allie's summer. Sissy also has a secret. Could it have anything to do with the old photo? Allie is dying to find out, though if she's not careful, that's exactly what might happen to her. Die, that is. Okay, so this sounds kind of creepy. One thing I just thought of that's kind of a connection is that in this book, the kids are going on summer vacation at their grandmother's, and in this book, at least Allie, is going on summer vacation at a family house. It's not her grandmother, but it's some house that her aunt and her grandmother used to go to when they were kids. So I'm going to read some of the reviews. These are things that other authors of the same genre, which is horror, have written, and this one says, stormy weather, a deep dark lake, and many unanswered questions keep mystery and a ghost story fans turning pages right up to the end. Okay, so this is a ghost story and this is a ghost story, so that's another similarity. Then somebody says it's satisfyingly chilly, which means it gives you the chills. And then the picture is kind of creepy. It's just deep, dark, and dangerous. And I don't know, it's definitely a girl. She has blonde hair, and it's kind of like going all around her head. So when I first saw it, I thought like maybe it's what you might look like with like when you go underwater and your hair kind of goes everywhere. Or maybe it's a spirit. I don't know. We'll have to read and find out. So here we go with Deep, Dark, and Dangerous. Chapter 1. One rainy Sunday in March, I opened a box of books Mom had brought home from Grandmother's house. We got a grandmother in this one too. Although Grandmother had been dead for 5 years, no one had unpacked any of the boxes. They'd been sitting in the attic collecting dust, their contents a mystery. Hoping to find something to read, I started pulling out books. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Misty of Chincoteague, I'm not sure if I said that right, and at least a dozen Nancy Drew mysteries. At 13, I'd long outgrown Carol Keene's plots, but I opened one at random, The Bungalow Mystery, and began flipping the pages. So she's talking about what she likes to read. Let's see. Nancy, blue-eyed with reddish glints in her blonde hair. Helen Corning, dark-haired and petite. Oh, well, that kind of sounds like Nancy, that picture right there. I don't know if it is. The two girls were in a small motorboat on a lake. A storm was coming, and soon they were in big trouble. Just as I was actually getting interested in the plot, I turned a page and found a real-life mystery. A torn page. In faded shades of yellow and green, Mom's older sister Dulce, grinning in the camera, her teeth big in her narrow face, her hair a tangled mop of tawny curls. Next to her, Mom looked off to the side, her long straight hair drawn back in a ponytail, eyes downcast, unsmiling, clearly unhappy. Dulce was about 11, I guessed, and Mom was 9 or 10. Behind the girls was water. A lake, I assumed. Didn't I say I thought this might look like underwater because of the way her hair's kind of all over. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but that's what it reminded me of. Pressed against Dulce's side, I could make out an arm, a shoulder, and a few strands of long hair, just enough for me to know it was a girl. The rest had been torn away. I turned the photo over, hoping to find a girl's name written on the back. There was grandmother's neat school teacherly handwriting. Gold Cottage, 1977, Dulce, Claire, and T. And like the rest of the face, the rest of the girl's name was missing too. Alone in the attic, I stared at the arm and shoulder. T. Tanya, Tonya, Tracy, Terry, Teresita. So many T names to choose from. I wonder which one was hers. Putting the photo back in the book, I ran downstairs to ask Mom about Gold Cottage, the lake, and the girl. I found her in the kitchen chopping onions for the vegetable casserole she was fixing for dinner. Standing there, head down, she wore the same expression caught in the photograph. Not surprising, she always looked sad, even when she wasn't. I waved the photograph. Look what I found! A picture of you and Dulce at the lake somewhere, and another girl. Mom snatched the photo. Her face suddenly flushed. Where did you get this? She acted as if I'd been rummaging around her purse, her bureau drawers, the medicine cabinet, looking for secrets. I backed away, startled by her reaction. It fell out of your old book. I held up the bungalow mystery. It was in one of those boxes you brought back from Grandma's house. Look, here's her name. I pointed to Claire Thornton, 1977, written in a childish scrawl on the inside cover. Mom stared at the photograph as if I hadn't spoken. I was sure I'd thrown this away. Who's the girl sitting beside Dulce? I asked, unable to restrain my curiosity. Me, Mom said without raising her eyes. No, I mean the other side where it's ripped. I pointed. See her arm and her shoulder? On the back, grandmother wrote T, but the rest of the name was torn apart. I don't remember another girl. Mom gripped the photo and shook her head. At the lake, it was always Dulce and me. Just Dulce and me. Nobody else. I don't know. She sounds kind of guilty if you ask me. At that moment, Dad came through the kitchen door and set a grocery bag on the counter. Salad stuff, he said. They didn't have field greens, so I got baby spinach. Fine, Mom said. What are you looking at? Reaching over Mom's shoulder, he took the photo. Little Claire and little Dulce, he said with a smile. What a cute pair you were. Too bad the picture's torn and the color's so awful. Mom reached for the photo, but Dad wasn't finished with it. This must have been taken in Maine, he said. Yes. She reached for the picture again. Hey, look at this. Dad handed her the photo. There's another girl sitting next to Dulce. See her arm? Who was she? This picture was taken 30 years ago, she said sharply. I have no idea who that girl was. Slipping the photo into her pocket, Mom went to the kitchen window and gazed at the backyard, which was beginning to show green after the winter. With her back to us, she said, soon it'll be time to mulch the garden. It was her way of ending the conversation, but Dad chose to ignore the hint. Your mom and aunt spent their vacations at Sycamore Lake when they were little, he told me. They still own Gold Cottage, but neither one of them has gone there since they were kids. Interesting. Why not? I asked. A cottage on a lake? I'd love to see it. Don't be ridiculous, Mom said, her back still turned. The place has probably fallen into pieces by now. Why not drive up there and let's take a look this summer? Dad asked her. Allie would love Maine. Great hiking, swimming, canoeing, and fishing. Lobsters, clams, blueberries. We haven't had a real vacation for years. Mom spun around to face us, her body tense, her voice shrill. I hated going there when I was little. The lake was cold and deep and scary, and the shore was so stony it hurt my feet. It rained for weeks straight. Thunder, lightning, wind, fog. The gnats and mosquitoes were vicious. Dulce and I fought them all the time, and I never want to see Gold Cottage again, and neither does Dulce. Oh, come on, Claire, Dad said, laughing. It couldn't have been that bad. You don't know anything about it, pressing her fingers to her temples, a sure sign of a headache, and she left the room and ran upstairs. A second later, the bedroom door slammed shut. I turned to Dad, frustrated. What's the matter with Mom now? Go easy on her, Allie. You know how easily she gets upset. He sighed and headed toward the stairs. Don't you have a math test tomorrow? Alone in the kitchen, I opened my textbook and stared at the page of algebra problems. Go easy on your mother. Don't upset her. She can't handle it. How often have I heard that? My mother was fragile. She worried. She cried easily. Sometimes she stayed in bed for days with migraine headaches. From the room overhead, I could hear the drone of my parents' voices. My mom's voice rose sharp and tearful. I've told you before, I don't want to talk about it. Dad mumbled something. I closed my algebra book and retreated to the family room. With the TV on, I couldn't hear them arguing, but even a rerun of Law and Order couldn't keep me from thinking about the photo. I certainly hadn't meant to start a scene. I just wanted to know who T was. I never saw the photo again. No one mentioned Sycamore Lake or the Gold Cottage, but the more we didn't talk about it, the more I thought about it. Who was T? Why didn't Mom remember her? If Grandma had still been alive, I swear I would have called her and asked her who T was. I thought about calling Dulce and asking her, but if Mom saw the number on the phone bill, she'd want to know why I called my aunt and what we talked about. Mom had issues with Dulce. Her words. They couldn't be together for more than a few hours without arguing. Politics, child raising, marriage, they didn't agree on anything. Maybe before I couldn't talk to anyone about the photo, maybe because I couldn't talk to anyone about the photo, I began dreaming about T and the lake, week after week, the same dream over and over. I'm walking along the shore of Sycamore Lake in a thick fog. I see a girl coming toward me. I can't make out her face, but somehow I know it's T. She seems to know me. She says, you better do something about this. She points at the three girls in a canoe paddling out onto the lake. One is my mother, one is Dulce, and I think the third girl is T. But how can she be that? Isn't she standing a few feet away? No, she's gone. The canoe vanishes into the fog. That's when I always woke up, scared, shivering, the way people feel when they say, someone's walking on my grave. I wanted to tell Mom about the dream, but I knew it would upset her, although Dad didn't agree. It seemed to me she'd been more nervous and anxious since I'd shown her the photograph. She started seeing her therapist again, not once a week, but twice. Her headaches came on more frequently, and she spent days lying on the couch reading poetry, mainly Emily Dickinson. Not a good choice, in my opinion, for a depressed person, because Emily Dickinson wrote really depressing poems. So that's why she says that. Dickinson's poems were full of things I didn't quite understand, but that frightened me. Her mind was haunted, I thought, by the death and sorrow of uncertainty. Sometimes I suspected that's why my mom liked Dickinson. They were kindred spirits, meaning they had something in common. Except for my dream and Mom's days on the couch, life went on as pretty much as usual. Dad taught his math classes at the university, graded exams, gave lectures, and complained about lazy students and boring faculty meetings. You know, standard stuff. I got involved in painting scenery for the school play and doing things with my friends. As the weather warmed, Mom cheered up a bit and went to work in her flower garden, mulching, transplanting, choosing new plants at the nursery, which is where you raise plants and then people go and buy them. The best therapy, she claimed. And then Dulce paid us an unexpected visit and threw everybody off track. So, what in the world is Dulce doing there, and what is the mother hiding? So that was chapter 1. So I know, again, I'm reading 2 different books because they were a tie, and you're more than welcome to listen to both if you want, but I know we probably have students that are only listening to one, and that's fine. Okay, if I come up with any questions about them, I'll make sure they are questions that can be answered by either book. Okay, so have a great week. If you have questions or issues, just text me or dojo me. You can call me. Most of the time though, I don't pick up the phone. I just look at text. So anyways, have a good week. Everything is pretty much the same as it was last week. You'll see all the work that you need to do in a folder that will say week 9. So you guys have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you with chapter 2. Bye bye.